Imagine this. It is early morning. You are getting ready for work. Your phone buzzes. It is a text from your neighbor saying there are federal officers walking up your driveway. Your hands go cold. Your heart is pounding. You open the front door, and two USCIS officers are standing right there on your porch, holding a folder with your name on it. They tell you that your immigration case has been reopened, not a new case. Your old case, the one you thought was already approved, the one that took you years and thousands of dollars to win. And now they want to come inside and ask you questions. What do you do? What do you say? Do you let them in? Because if you make the wrong move in the next 60 seconds, everything you built in this country could start to fall apart. That moment is not a nightmare anymore. Because of Operation Twin Shield, it is happening to real people right now, in cities across the United States. And if you have any immigration benefit tied to a marriage petition, an employment authorization, a family-based visa, or a refugee claim, then you need to watch every single second of this video. Because what you learn here could be the thing that saves your status. Let me tell you what is really going on and why so many people are getting this completely wrong. Operation Twin Shield began in Minneapolis and St. Paul, Minnesota in late September of 2025. USCIS, working alongside ICE and the FBI, quietly conducted a 10-day surge of site visits and in-person interviews targeting more than 1,000 cases they believed had what they called fraud or ineligibility indicators. According to the official USCIS announcement on September 30, 2025, officers found evidence of fraud, non-compliance, or public safety concerns in 275 of those cases. That is a rate of 44% among the cases they actually interviewed. Now, USCIS Director Joseph Edlow stood at a press conference and said something that every immigrant in America needs to hear. He said, and I am quoting him directly, "Any city should be prepared to be the next site for an operation of this magnitude." He called Operation Twin Shield the first of many, not a one-time event, a blueprint. And it worked. Because by January of 2026, DHS had already launched a follow-up operation called Operation PARRIS, this time targeting approximately 5,600 refugees in the same Minnesota area who had not yet obtained their green cards. Cases with suspected fraud are being referred directly to ICE. The machine is moving fast, and most people have no idea it is heading toward them. Here is the trap that most immigrants fall into, and this is the part that costs people their status. When federal officers show up at your door or your workplace, the panic sets in immediately. You feel guilty even if you have done nothing wrong. And that panic is exactly what creates the problem. People start volunteering information they were never asked for. They start explaining things that do not need explaining. They let officers into their home without understanding their rights. Or they slam the door and say nothing at all, which can also create problems depending on the nature of the visit. There is also a second trap that is even more dangerous, and it involves people who think they are already safe because their case was approved years ago. Here is the part that shocks people. USCIS has confirmed that Operation Twin Shield is being used to reopen previously granted immigration benefits to determine whether rescission or revocation is appropriate. That means a green card you received, a visa that was approved, even a citizenship application that was being processed, can all be looked at again if USCIS believes there are fraud indicators. The approval you already received does not automatically protect you if USCIS finds new evidence or believes the original decision was based on false information. And because USCIS has not been transparent about exactly what patterns or data they use to flag cases, nobody outside the agency knows for certain how they are choosing who to visit next. That uncertainty is the trap. People are either doing too much or too little, and both can hurt them. Now let me give you the legal shield, because this is the part you really came here for. The United States Constitution protects everyone on American soil, and that includes you, regardless of your immigration status. The Fourth Amendment to the Constitution protects you against unreasonable searches and seizures. This means that even a USCIS officer, even an ICE officer, cannot enter your home without either your voluntary consent or a valid judicial warrant signed by a federal judge. A warrant from an immigration court or a notice to appear is not the same thing as a judicial warrant. You have the right to ask to see a warrant through a closed door or a window before you open that door. If they do not have a judicial warrant, you are not required to let them in. That is the law. The Fifth Amendment also protects you. It gives you the right to remain silent and not answer questions that could be used against you. You can politely tell an officer that you would like to speak with an attorney before answering any questions. That is not obstruction. That is your constitutional right. Now, if you have a pending case or an upcoming interview scheduled through USCIS and you are summoned to appear, that is a different situation. Failing to appear for a scheduled interview can be held against you. But an unannounced home visit is not the same as a court date, and you should treat it very differently. The Immigration and Nationality Act, commonly called the INA, does give USCIS broad authority to investigate the accuracy of information on immigration applications. That is the legal basis for these home visits. But that authority does not cancel your constitutional rights. Both exist at the same time. You just need to know how to navigate both. Now let us talk about what the internet is getting completely wrong, because the misinformation on this topic is dangerous. I have seen videos on TikTok and posts circulating on WhatsApp communities saying things like, if USCIS comes to your door, you have to let them in, or they will deport you on the spot. That is false. I have also seen so-called notarios, people who are not licensed attorneys, but pretend to give legal advice, telling families that if they got their green card years ago, they have nothing to worry about because old cases cannot be touched. That is also false, and the USCIS official announcement from September 30th, 2025, directly contradicts it. There are also rumors spreading that Operation Twin Shield only targets people from certain countries or communities, and that if you are not from Africa or the Middle East, you are not at risk. That is also not accurate. The operation targets fraud indicators in the case file, not nationality. USCIS Director Ed Lowe specifically mentioned marriage fraud, H-1B abuse, F-1 visa violations, employment authorization discrepancies, and forged documents as the types of fraud they are finding. These cut across every country of origin, every visa category, and every immigration status. And then there is the flip side, people who assume that because they did everything honestly, they have zero risk of being visited. That is mostly true, but it does not mean you should not be prepared. Even honest applicants can have inconsistencies in their files, old addresses, outdated documents, or small discrepancies between what was filed years ago and what is true today. USCIS uses data and pattern analysis to flag cases, and that system is not perfect. Being innocent does not automatically mean you are invisible to an algorithm. Here is your action plan, and I want you to follow every single step. Tonight, before you do anything else, pull out every immigration document you have ever received. Your approval notices, your visa, your green card if you have one, your work authorization, any letters from USCIS, your I-94 record, your interview appointment letters, everything. Put them in one folder. Know where they are. If USCIS has a file on you, you should have a matching file on yourself. If you can say clearly and quickly what your status is, when your documents expire, and what applications are pending, you are already in a stronger position than most people. Step 2. Go to the USCIS website at uscis.gov and check the status of any pending applications you have. The system is called Case Status Online, and you can check it using your receipt number. Know exactly where your case stands today. If something looks wrong or you see a request for evidence you did not know about, that is urgent, and you need to contact an immigration attorney immediately. Step 3. Practice what you will say if a USCIS or ICE officer comes to your door. The sentence is simple, and you need to know it by heart. You say, "I am not able to let you in without a judicial warrant. I would like to speak with my attorney before answering any questions." That is it. You do not have to be rude. You do not have to be aggressive. You say it calmly and clearly. Step 4. If you are in a marriage-based case, whether pending or already approved, make sure your commingled documents are current and reflect your real life together. Joint bank account statements, lease or mortgage documents with both names, photos together over time, text messages, travel records. If a USCIS officer knocked on your door tomorrow and asked you to prove your marriage is real, could you do it in 5 minutes? If the answer is no, that is your homework this week. Step 5. If you received a refugee benefit or a family-based green card in the last several years, particularly if you were part of a refugee resettlement program, be aware that Operation PARRIS, the follow-up to Operation Twin Shield launched by DHS in January of 2026, is specifically re-examining those cases. If you receive any letter or notice from USCIS in connection with that case, do not ignore it and do not respond to it alone. Get legal help immediately. Step 6. Find a qualified immigration attorney in your area now, before there is a crisis. Do not wait until you get a notice. A good attorney can review your file, identify any inconsistencies, and help you correct them before USCIS does. The difference between having legal representation and not having it, in a fraud investigation, can be the difference between keeping your status and losing everything. My name is James. I am a senior immigration analyst with 6 years of experience, and on Immigration News Today, I do not give you opinions. I give you the survival strategies that keep families together. What I have shared with you today is based entirely on verified official sources, including the USCIS official press release from September 30th, 2025, the DHS announcement of Operation PARRIS from January 9th, 2026, the DHS arrest announcement from February 18th, 2026, and the Immigration and Nationality Act. This is not rumor. This is not politics. This is what is actually happening, and you deserve to know. I want to be very clear with you. The vast majority of immigrants who follow the rules, file their applications honestly, and live their lives with integrity have nothing to fear from an honest USCIS review. Operation Twin Shield is designed to catch people who committed real fraud, people who fabricated death certificates, who married strangers for documents, who lied on federal forms. If that is not you, your job is simply to be prepared, be organized, and know your rights. That is what this channel is here to help you do. And I also want to say this. Immigration policy in 2026 is moving faster than at almost any point in recent history. What is true today may be different in 30 days. The USCIS guidelines can change. New operations can be announced. Thresholds can shift. That is not meant to scare you. It is meant to remind you that staying informed is not optional right now. It is a form of protection. Immigration rules change overnight. Join my WhatsApp community for instant alerts before I post them on YouTube. The link is in the description below this video. That community is where I share breaking updates, fast answers to your questions, and early warnings about exactly this kind of enforcement shift. If you found this video helpful, please like it right now. That small action helps more families in the immigrant community find this information when they need it most. Share it with someone you know who has a pending immigration case or who received a benefit in the last few years. You may be handing them a lifeline. And if you have not subscribed to Immigration News Today yet, do it now and turn on the notification bell. Every update on this channel is fact-checked, sourced from official government documents, and delivered to you in plain language because you deserve clarity, not confusion. This content is for informational purposes only and does not constitute legal advice. Every situation is different. For guidance on your specific case, please consult a qualified and licensed immigration attorney. Verify all information through official sources including USCIS.gov, DHS.gov, and the Federal Register. Policy can change, and the as-of date for everything in this video is March 1st, 2026. If you want accurate, fast, and reliable immigration updates, subscribe to Immigration News Today right now and turn on notifications. Staying informed is no longer optional. It is essential. I am James. Protect your status. Protect your family. I will see you in the next update.